Host Christina King, and joining me live right now in the studio is Christopher West. Good morning, Christopher.
Hello, Christina, and all your faithful listeners out there.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you on the program. Christopher West, for those of you who aren't aware of who Christopher West is someone that's really tried to open and unpack the beautiful treasure of Blessed Pope John Paul II's theology of the body, love and responsibility, as well as all the other beautiful letters and encyclicals that he's put forth through the Church during his lengthy pontificate, and help us to understand, as both men and women, the dignity of the human person, the complementarity of the sex, and our call to union and communion through just looking at our bodies and helping us enter into the mystery of that. So his latest book is Fill These Hearts, and he's also gone into a direction of using art and being able to look at everyday circumstances to help us enter into a discussion of the theological and the mysterious. So Christopher, welcome to the program. And what was your reasoning? You've got a lot of great books that you've written, including something that helps us understand that big, huge treasure trove of theology of the body, and walk us through step by step. What was your motivation for Fill These Hearts?
Well, you know, the book is called Fill These Hearts for a reason. Who can't relate when Bruce Springsteen sings, "Everybody's got a hungry heart"? We all have this yearning, this longing, this cry of our hearts for something. The question really is, what is that hunger, and where do we take it? And the way we answer that question is going to determine really the course of our whole lives. I think one of the sad things is a lot of Christians grow up with this hunger, but we're presented with what I call in the book the starvation diet gospel. And by that I mean we're given a list of rules to follow, but we're basically told our hunger is bad and evil, it's only going to get us in trouble. Well, if that's the way we understand Christianity, then the fast food gospel from the culture is going to look very attractive. And by that I mean the culture's incessant promise of immediate gratification for all of our hungers. Well, if you go down that path, which is what I did as a young person, you're going to end up like the guy in the movie Super Size Me, who ate McDonald's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a month to see what would happen to him. That's kind of a good picture of me in my college years. And then I remember crying out to God saying, there's got to be more to life than this. And Christina, making a long story short, what I ultimately discovered was John Paul II's theology of the body, and I felt like I had discovered a banquet that really corresponds to the hunger of the heart. So that's what this book is all about, getting ourselves to the banquet.
I really love the analogy that you use with that, and have used, you know, like first the dumpster, but then also just the fast food, where when you're hungry and you're starving, and a lot of us come from, I mean, some people are blessed to have great family lives, but some of us come from dysfunctional lives of woundedness, and then through our own sin and missing the mark, as you so eloquently help us to understand that our desires are something that initially aren't bad. They're God-given passions that we reach out, but then the things that we choose through our own sinfulness or weaknesses, then we choose the wrong thing, becomes disorientated. And so I feel like that it's such a beautiful analogy to help us understand how, I guess, I feel like it's a lens of mercy almost, so that you can be more compassionate with yourself and understand that your desire wasn't the bad thing. It was what you chose was, and then you kind of show what you're really hungry for. And if you never saw love before growing up, this is a really beautiful invitation to see what you really wanted, to say, wow, oh my gosh, I see that. Do you feel like as I do, that the culture we live in right now is desperate for that?
Absolutely, Christina, and you're putting your finger on something so important. If we understand what our deepest hungers really are, then we can have, first of all, mercy and compassion on ourselves for our mistakes, and then mercy and compassion on others. Put it this way, and this is how I explain it in my book. If the only two choices for that deep hunger we all have are starvation or fast food, I don't know about you, but I'm going for the greasy chicken nuggets because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I need something to eat. You can only starve yourself for so long.
Especially when your body's created for that.
Exactly. We are created for a love and a union that lasts forever. And you bring this point up about our bodies. This is one of the other main points of my book. Even our bodies tell this story of our yearning for this banquet, of our yearning for this love that lasts forever. Think about it. A man's body does not make sense by itself. A woman's body does not make sense by itself. but seen in light of each other, we discover the unmistakable plan of the Creator. There's a design here. We are made for a holy communion. And as Scripture teaches, the holy communion of man and woman in one flesh, this is just a foreshadowing. This is just a glimmer of the eternal union of Christ and the church. That's the banquet we're talking about. Jesus calls it a wedding feast. And when we realize we are created for this wedding feast, and this is what all of our hungers are for, then we are given the grace more and more to direct our desire according to God's design so we can reach our destiny, eternal union with God forever.
Well, see, what you're saying right now isn't Catholic. This is universal, regardless of where someone's beliefs. What you're talking about is a human person gift, right?
And that's what Catholic means. It means universal.
Yes.
The subtitle of my book is called God, Sex, and the Universal Longing. We could also call it the Catholic longing, the longing that every human being has. Everybody's got a hungry heart, as Bruce Springsteen says. The question maybe we need to ask ourselves, I often joke, is why can't Mick Jagger get no satisfaction? This guy tries, and he tries, and he tries, and he tries. Well, that's what sin is. Sin is when we take our desire for this wedding feast to something other than the wedding feast. The wedding feast being Christ's love for the church, Christ's love for all of humanity. When we take our desire for the infinite to something finite, it can never satisfy. And that's why sin means to miss the mark. The good news of the gospel, Christ does not come into the world to condemn us for our desires. He comes to redirect our desires according to God's design so we can reach our destiny.